Hello everyone. In this lesson, we're going to use a word processor to write a business letter in the standard block format. You can write this business letter in any word processor, Microsoft Word, or Google Docs. We're going to be using Google Docs in this lesson since it's free for anyone to use, as long as you have a Google account. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to just check the formatting for a block letter format. In a standard block business letter, your margins are set at 1 inch all around, top, bottom, left, and right. And line spacing is single, so your paragraphs will be single spaced, and you'll add extra space in between the paragraphs. And make sure to choose an easy to read font, like Times New Roman or Arial, anything that looks plain and not too fancy. When you write a business letter, you'll have start with basically your return address, your address in the top, single spaced, and then an extra space in between. And then the current date, and then an extra space in between. And you make those spaces by hitting the Enter key. Then you'll have the name and the address of the person you're sending the letter to. And then an extra space, and then a greeting line. After one more extra space, then you start the paragraphs of your document. Your business letter, when you type the paragraph, remember when you get to the end of a line, let the word processor automatically word wrap for you. So it brings the next word down to the next line automatically. And let the paragraph flow just like that until the last section of the paragraph. That's when you'll hit the Enter key, and you'll hit it twice to give an extra space in between paragraphs. You'll repeat that for every paragraph in your document, remembering to let word wrap the end until your paragraph is over. The last part of your business letter has a closing, and then some extra space so that you could put a handwritten signature there on the printout. And of course, sign it. So let's take a look what that looks like in Google Docs. Okay, so this is our assignment in Google Docs. I've already set up an empty Google Doc for you called Volunteer Gala. You're going to click on that and it'll open up a blank Google Doc for you. You can see you have a blank page waiting for you to type your letter, but let's check that formatting first. Under the File menu, we're going to go to Page Setup, and that's where we can check our margins. And sure enough, they're already set at 1 inch all the way around. So I'll click OK. Next, we want to check and make sure the spacing is set as single spacing. So I'll go to Format and Line Spacing, and it's usually set at 1.15 spacing. I'm going to change that to single. Then I'll start by typing my return address. Notice that it's in a very simple font. It's in Arial, so that's perfect for a business letter. This isn't a whole paragraph, so I'll hit the Enter key at the end of the street address. And then the city, state, and zip code. I'll hit Enter twice to make that extra space between the address and the date. I'll make up a date for this letter. I'll hit Enter twice to skip a space. Then I'll type the name and address of the person I'm sending the letter to. If you make any mistakes, you can use the arrow keys to go back. I forgot an S here. And or you can use the mouse to click and it will move that insertion point where you need it to move. If you make anything that you want to delete, you can use the backspace key and it will backspace over any mistakes. I'll hit Enter twice again, and then I can make my greeting. I hit Enter twice, and now I'm ready to type my first paragraph. As I approach the end, watch, it's going to word wrap automatically. I'm not hitting the Enter key here. Oh, I typed something and I noticed that I have a red squiggle underneath. This is the spell checker indicating that I misspelled a word. To fix a misspelled word, the easiest thing to do is move your mouse cursor on top of that word and right-click. And it will give you a spelling suggestion. And sure enough, I had an extra S on the end of this. I can click that and it will change it to the correct spelling. Then I can click on the end and continue typing. Again, I'm letting word wrap that word down to the next line. Now I've come to the end of this paragraph, so now I can hit enter twice to get to the paragraph for the second paragraph. I won't bore you with all of my typing, so I'm going to pause the video and I'll finish typing the letter and then we'll continue. Here we go, I'm almost done with the last paragraph. Then I'll hit enter twice and now I'm ready to close the letter. I'm going to hit enter 4 times to leave room for a signature. And that's the end of the letter. You'll notice I haven't said anything about saving, and that's because Google Docs automatically saves all of your work without you having to do anything in their virtual hard drive, their cloud hard drive, which means it's a hard drive on the internet, called Google Drive. And in a later video, I'll give you a little tour of Google Drive and how it's different from file management on your computer itself. Working in a cloud drive is similar, but a little bit different. So I'll have another video that will show you about that. After proofreading my letter, I'm noticing there's a very important missing piece of information. My letter does not tell the recipient when the event will be held. This year's event will be held at the Summerhill Conference Center in Park Hill, Maine on July 18th. So I need to add some information in here. So again, I'm going to use the mouse to click up into the letter. Again, I can position it before that period after the word Maine, so I can write on July. And notice as I type, because word wrap is working, it automatically is pushing the words around and word wrapping appropriately. And it automatically push those words around, that way the paragraph looks correct. And if you accidentally hit enter at the end of your lines, then you're going to notice some funny spacing if you try and edit things. So if you notice weird spacing, it might mean that you accidentally hit the enter key at the end of the line. So make sure you let that word wrap happen, and then edits will be seamless and the paragraphs will flow correctly. And so to review, we typed a business letter into the Google Docs word processor. We set our paragraphs in page setup to 1 inch, to our margins to 1 inch margins, and we formatted our line spacing so that it was single spaced. We typed our return address and enter twice to skip a space, the date, enter twice to skip a space, the name and address of who you're sending it to, enter twice to skip a space, then your greeting, enter twice to skip a space, and then your paragraphs, letting word wrap the ends of your lines around automatically, fixing any spelling mistakes by right-clicking on spelling mistakes and choosing the suggestion, if it's correct, hitting enter twice at the end of each paragraph to skip a space between paragraphs, and then adding our closing at the end with 4 enters to leave room for a signature. If I had a printer and wanted to print this out, there's a print button, convenient print button here, and I could print it and it would send it to my printer. Once you've typed your letter in the document, it'll automatically save it as part of the assignment, and then you can just close the tab where the Volunteer Gala letter resides. It will stay attached to our assignment. Then go ahead and choose the How Did It Go? It's another word processing document, but again, it's a chance for you to write how the assignment went for you, what gave you trouble in the word processor, and what questions do you still have about using Google Docs. And that's the end of our lesson on using the Google Docs word processor to write a business letter.